Hello, my name is Ramona Donaldson and I'm the Marketing and Corporate Communications Manager at Massy Distributors Jamaica, and I am a leader who bleeds. Sister who is 2 years older than me, and so I remember when she started her period, and I think most of what I learned about period was really from my older sister and not so much from my mom or my school. So I remember her having her period, her using napkins, and I think that she pretty much taught me everything that I knew when I started. A memorable period story. I remember when I was in college, I think I was in my first year, and I was at the library studying. I'm not sure if it was the first day of my cycle, but I remember having terrible cramps. It was literally debilitating. I was curled up on the floor and I was just in so much pain. And I remember a friend of mine said, "No, Ramona, you need to go to the doctor. Let me carry it to the health center." And so we went to the health center and I saw the doctor. And the first thing she said to me when I sat down and described my symptoms was, "Why did you take so long to come?" And I think in that moment, I realized that having really, really bad cramps, even though I lived with it for years, was not normal, or it was at least something that I could treat. And she helped me to manage it going forward, and I never experienced that again. When I was in high school, we used to do swimming class as part of PE. And I remember whenever we would be on our periods, that would be the time that we'd have to get a doctor's note to skip swimming. And I think in that moment for me, it's almost as if you associated periods with illness. So you had a period, and so therefore you were sick and unable to go to class. And I think now as an adult, my period doesn't prevent me from experiencing anything. If I'm going on vacation, anything that I'm doing, my period is not a consideration for me. But back then, it was almost like you wanted to build your schedule around your period. There's just this taboo around women menstruating. It's like they know that we see our periods, but it's not something that you talk about. And so even for me, I remember whenever I would, buy my napkins, I would always kind of hide them, or, when I go to the pharmacy or go to the supermarket, it was almost like something that I didn't want anybody to see that I was purchasing these things. And I remember when I visited my dad, who lives in the States, and I think I was probably having cramps at the time or something, but I couldn't go to the store. And I remember timidly going to him and saying, "Dad, could you get me these napkins?" And he was like, "Sure." And he just went out and he got them. And I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, mind you, whilst I knew my dad and we had a good relationship, I didn't grow up with him. And so it was the first time I saw a man actually embrace the fact that women had periods. And so for me, it was just really this taboo thing that I recognized in that moment, that it's really nothing to be ashamed of. It's normal for for young girls and for women to have periods, and it's really a conversation we need to have with men. Just saying, listen, this is a part of the grocery list like any other thing that we need to buy in the house. I remember when I had my baby and I needed napkins, and I was like, you need butter, sugar, eggs, sanitary napkins, and normalizing, it has been a part of the personal care items that are on your list. It is absolutely normal. It's almost like a coming of age, and it's something that you should really embrace and just see it as your body is changing and developing almost like a caterpillar to a butterfly. So I want you to see the beauty in this experience. The fact that now that you are menstruating means that your body is preparing itself to carry your children. And just understand what your cycle really represents and just the power that lies within that. And it's really nothing for you to be ashamed of. And you should be very proud that your body is actually going through this, because you know what it will bring in the future. Women leaders have to show up and they have to lean in just like their male counterparts. And so it's important that even as we appreciate our differences, we also respect them. It's not, when a woman is assertive, it doesn't mean that she's emotional or she must be on her period. It just means that she's assertive and she's leaning in. And, understand that when we make comments like that and try to, create this scenario where we try to almost make the woman feel ashamed about what's happening in her body and her hormones, it's actually very disrespectful. And I think we just need to be a little bit more sensitive to the fact that our bodies go through a lot of changes, from menstruating to during pregnancy to even menopause, and just to kind of appreciate what we are going through. These are changes that you will never go through, and so therefore you may never understand. But even though you don't quite understand it, just respect it. And so what I will say is, allow women the space to speak without fear of judgment, and to really express themselves without being worried or concerned that it might be misconstrued as just being too emotional or just being on our cycle.